KILR Killer Game.
Welcome back, gamers, simmers, and pilots. I am the Killer Gamer. This is the World Tour featuring Flight Simulator 2 for the Commodore 64. And it's been a bit since I did the last episode, but we are here and we're back. There was a reason for the hiatus, and that was because if you've been following this series, you'll know that I've been, with the other flight simulators, I've been following the same flight plan. It's based off of what we do on the Commodore 64. However, the Commodore 64 is limited when it comes to scenery. It doesn't have the entire United States. For example, well, for the Commodore 64, there's actually 3 scenery discs that are missing, 8, 10, and 12. For the PC, it has 12, but 8 and 10 were never done. But then SubLogic actually did a USA East and a USA West, which I think I have right here. Yeah. So here is USA West by SubLogic, and I do have East as well. And it's not what you think. You would think that maybe that's a compilation of what they've done. Like the West would be scenery discs 1 through 6, and the East would be the rest of them. That's what I originally thought also. But it's not. It's been completely reworked. Now, it only works with Flight Simulator 4. You can get it to work on Flight Simulator 5, but why would you? It's made for Flight Simulator 4. It's actually made, to be honest with you, it's made for... Where is it? Where did I put it? It's another SubLogic program. It's not this, but here's East. Told you I had it. Where is that program at? Okay, I found it. Yeah, see, I think those discs actually were first made for this, the SubLogic ATP, or Flight Assignment by Airline Transport Pilot by SubLogic, which I will be doing a series for that. But those scenery discs also work with Flight Simulator 4 for the PC. And this is kind of like what we're getting into as far as why I was going on hiatus with the Commodore 64. The other simulators have moved north of where we left off. And there's no coverage for the Commodore 64 going north. It's that's one of the scenery discs that's missing. But also those simulators are going to be going into Canada and north from there. And then the idea was that they would come back around and come right back to La Crosse and continue the same route. And so I wanted to have it to where all the simulators were coming out on the same day with the same exact flight. But since I had the World Tour on hiatus, I've been working on other projects, namely the cinematic flights that I've been doing with Flight Simulator 10 and Prepared P3D, and also Flight Simulator 4. I've got a cinematic with that one in regards to a USA, like SubLogic USA tours, what I'm doing with that one. And the reason why I'm doing these other types of projects, well, I'm getting up there in age. I'm getting close to 50 years old. I honestly don't know how long it's going to take for me to do this world tour by going to, little airports, big airports around the world, because I want to cover every aspect of the world that I can. I don't know how long that's going to take. I don't know how many years I got left. I found out that one of the managers that I used to work for had a heart attack at the age of 54. No, 52. Sorry, it was 52. That's only 4 years difference from my actual age. So it's a little unsettling. I've got a lot that I want to accomplish with my video work. So I hate to think that I have a countdown of 4 years left. But anyway, I've been doing these other series so that way I can still get the sense that I'm going to be doing things around the world. Just on these other series, they're more longer. Some of these flights can last 3, 4, 5, 6 hours long. One such series that I've got is the North to South American tour, where we start from the very top of Alaska and we're going to wind up all the way to the bottom of South America. And the flights on that one are upwards of 6 to 7 hours long. But it's things like that. And I've got another one that I want to do of New Zealand, one that I'm planning to do for Africa. So I'll be doing tours like that, and so I will be covering areas of the world, but they'll be separate. They'll be on their own, separate. But getting back to the actual world tour here, I decided that there are some people who have been watching the Commodore 64 videos that I put out, and the Commodore Amiga ones, and I don't want to leave them out on the cold. I don't want them to have to wait until like another year or two before new episodes come out. So I'm just going to go ahead and continue with the original plan that I had with the Commodore 64. So the flight plan that I've got, all the other simulators will be following it as well. And it'll just be that those other simulators will just have to pick up the slack. They'll just have to catch up when that time comes. But yeah, so let's go ahead and enough talk. Let's go ahead and talk about our flight. So here we go, our handy duty SubLogic map from scenery disc number 9. Number 9. Right here, La Crosse. This is where we're at. And we're going to be not going through the whole Chicago area there. We're going to be flying right here to Dane County Regional Trow Field. I believe that's the city of Madison there. So we'll be doing, let's see, our flight plan. I'd say I was thinking of going to Lone Rock, but if we start flying, yeah, I'm thinking about the next flight. Yeah, let's go to Lone Rock, and then we'll move to Dane County over here. I do want to come into this area, but we're going to do that on the next flight. I pretty much know what I want to do for that. All right, so let's go ahead and get back to the simulator. All right, we've got everything loaded up. We just need to go ahead and get the airplane turned on. So let me see if I can remember how to do that. I think it was it Shift M for magnetos? Nope. Oh, yep, it was. We changed it. The magnetos are right here. You see this right here, MAGS? So, well, that made the map. That's not quite what I wanted to do. Okay, I was totally wrong. It's the control key. But on the Commodore 64 Commodore 64 Amiga, duh. On the Commodore 64 emulator that I've got, the CCS64, control is actually the tab key. So I have to go tab M5. Is that it? Maybe not. There we go. We finally got it. And that's awfully loud, so I'm going to turn that down there. Let's see. That looks like it should be okay as far as volume. It was a little too soft. I know that is not the most pleasing sound, but we need to have some type of sound effect going on here. Oh, let's see. Well, it looks, I think we're going to have plenty of fuel. So, let's see. Taking a look at the map, Lone Rock, which is where we are, that's our midpoint, kind of. The VOR is 112.8. So, we'll go ahead and set that up now. Here I am trying to click it with a mouse. Hello. There is no mouse for the Commodore 64. Let's see. I believe it is Control N. And I can't remember. There we go. It's Control N and then 1 for nav 1. And then you use the what are those? The like, they're not brackets. Oh, the less than, greater than signs. That's above the period and the comma, at least on a modern keyboard. You use that to go up and down. So let's do one thing that I always like to do is like the destination airport. I like to put down for nav 1, whereas nav 2 I like to have like the one that we're going to. But I just forgot that the DME only works for nav 1 and not nav 2. But that's okay. That is quite alright. We'll go ahead and set, there it is, 112. And now we have to go Control NN to do the little ones there. So we'll change that to 8. And there we go. We got 60 miles to go. And just so we can remember, 108 point, 108 point, is that 5 or a 6? I can barely read that. I'm looking at the map trying to read. Okay, it's 108.6. 108.6 is going to be our destination airport. And I can't seem to get off of the oh. It would help if I hit the control key or the tab key and that caps lock. There we go. 108.6. Been a while since I actually played the Commodore 64 version since the last episode, so I'm having to relearn all the controls. Question is, will I be able to land this and not crash it? I don't know. Well, one thing's for sure. I have the reliability set to 100 because I had it at 99 to give it a little bit of a challenge. You know, if something were to break, and like 2 things broke on the last flight at 99% reliability. I'm like, really? I don't think so. So here we go. We are on the way here. Let's change our VOR so that way VOR number 1 right here, which looks a lot like a stopwatch. Let's change this so that way we've got this centered so we know which direction we want to go. So that's going to be Control V for VOR. And then the greater than, less than signs. Okay, so we're just going to change this here. Keep going. There we go. Yeah, I don't think it's one for... Alright, we've got our vector. We got our vector to get there. We got our vector, Victor. So... I guess the runway that's right in front of us we can go ahead and take. We'll move over there. And I have auto coordination off. This is tricky. I forgot the so I got auto coordination off so that way I can use the rudders. Because it really helps as far as fine-tuning, lining up with the runway. Let's get turned around here. So C and M are used for the rudder. Now you may be thinking, how come we just don't use a joystick? Well, I haven't been able to get one to actually work on the emulator. But on a real Commodore 64, back when I was playing this, you know, back in 84, 85, I actually did try it with a joystick, and oh my word, I couldn't fly it for nothing. I was all over the place. It was a mess. Alright, so we are on our way. remember that G will... There we go. Go ahead and make our turn here. Oops, I think I turned a little too far. Gotta take a look at the magnetic compass, which is right up here, these numbers. Boy, this is getting some used to here after playing the other simulators. My goodness, I'm like overshooting my target vector. So what's weird is I'm turning one direction, but it's acting like it's going the other direction. It's like, come on. Turn. Well, that white line is a road. That is heading out east. East to... Well, I know the Lake Michigan. Man, what is up with this compass? Is there a wind? Maybe there's a wind that's blowing me. Because it has I cannot get over to the 124 to save my life here. And maybe because I wasn't using the rudder in combination with the ailerons. Ailerons, that's up in... But you all know what I'm talking about. Okay. I think I'm closer now. Nope, I'm still... Look at that. How did I get from 120 to 150? What's up with that? There we go. I think maybe we're okay. Alright, so Control D or Tab D helped us align our compassing, but that does not take long for it to get out of sync. But we got it synced up here for the most part. See, Control D. So we got that drift going on. Oops. Elevator, that's what... Duh, elevator, up and down. Not aileron. I'm adding some some elevator trim going up so that way we can get some more altitude. This could be a very boring flight. We may see nothing but green. I don't think there's like any roads or rivers or anything in the direction that we're going. Let's see, let's do Control B. Whoa, okay. We do have altitude. I had to set the altimeter. When I did Control B, it actually it fixed the altimeter, so. Alright, let's bring our throttle down. We'll try to line up or level off at 3,000 here. So what I was thinking, what I was saying before, how it looks, this could be like a boring flight because all we're going to see is the green land and the blue sky. You know, there's no road, no river. But I remember when I was playing this that sometimes that was kind of the fun, is wondering, am I flying in the right direction? And then when I actually saw the airport or saw a river, I was like, oh yes, I'm headed the right direction. So it's, you know, it's a little, you know, it's kind of neat to know that that you tuned into your instruments correctly. Of course, we got our DME, we got our distance measuring equipment, which is saying we got 52.9 miles, or 8 now, 52.8. I wonder, do we have any flaps that are down or something? Because we're only going 60. We should be going faster than that. Our flaps are down. What are you doing, Shadow? No wonder we flew up so much. Flaps are right here, where the F is at, and they're all the way down, so I need to fix that. Let's see, the controls for the flaps. It's funny, I thought I had that taken care of. Flaps, flaps. Where are the flaps? Oh, okay. Huh. There we go. Our speed jumped up now. Shadow, why are you trying to go into that box? You're too little for that box. No. You're too little for that box. I don't remember if I had Talia, my black cat, on any of these videos for the Commodore 64. Sadly, she passed away not too long ago. It's been about a couple of weeks. She lived 18 and a half years. But I do miss her. And she would lay right here on the desk with me. And Shadow now, my gray kitty, which I know I featured him on some videos. He's claimed the room. Alright, so let's go ahead and get back to the Flight Physics and Aircraft Control, which is this manual right here. Because, yes, I do have a legit copy of Flight Simulator 2. I do have one. I don't have a Commodore 64. But I do have this. I bought this for memory, for the memories. Now, I've said before, man, I'm still going up. I've said before in other videos that I've got some fond memories with this. I've flown it from West Coast to East Coast. I've flown it in Japan and Europe and Hawaii, and just had a lot of fun. And that's the whole reason for this series, is to relive those memories and share them with you. Gee, my throttle's awfully low. Throttle is right here, by the way. It's a T. What's the M? I forgot what the M is. It's not magnetos. That's what this is. So I don't remember what this is here. Okay, total drag. It's a total drag, man. Total drag equals parasitic drag. What, parasites? I don't know. Parasitic drag plus induced drag. Figure 12 shows both parasitic and induced drag on the same graph. Total drag is simply both types of drag added together vertically on the graph. So let's see. So here is figure 12 right there. And that's probably not the easiest to see. Total drag was the upper curve. Parasitic drag was the curve underneath it. Going up is drag, going off to the side is airspeed. I don't know. I'm not going to act like I know exactly what they're talking about here. I just kind of, no pun intended, I just kind of wing it. Wing? I learn as I go, you know, trying to read through, you know, booklets and stuff like that is not exactly the easiest. This graphically illustrated concept of total drag is important for proper aircraft control. Since you need thrust to oppose drag, think of the vertical axis as required thrust rather than drag. You'll note that at airspeeds below the minimum drag point, more power is needed to sustain level flight than at the minimum drag point. Flying at airspeeds below the minimum drag point can cause problems for the novice pilot. It just sounds like common sense. We will return to this curve again during flight lesson 4 while practicing slow flight. When I first looked at this, the flight lesson is the capital F and L, and for a moment I thought it said Flight Simulator 4. You know, it's funny, with Flight Simulator 4, Microsoft, I had never played it. I had never actually played it until I was doing the series on this channel. So I had played the Commodore 64, and then I did the Commodore Amiga, and then I had actually moved to a PC, and that's when I started playing 5.1, and then Flight Simulator 98. And so I got a lot of flight time out of the Commodore 64, Flight Simulator 5.1, and Flight Simulator 98. Those were the ones I got the most out of. Flight Simulator 2000 I got, but I barely flew it. So most of the flight time that I've done with 2000 has been on this channel. And then Flight Simulator 2002 I had never played until this channel. But then FS9, Flight Simulator 2004. Oh yeah, I flew that quite a bit. I flew that one across the world. So I did it on that one. I did it on Flight Simulator 5 and 98. And that's just some fun memories right there. And, you know, now I'm creating some new memories with FSX and Prepared and X-Plane. Alright, getting back to this. Weight. Weight is an obvious concept to understand. Passengers, baggage, fuel, and oil all have weight, and this weight affects aircraft performance, since more lift is required to carry more weight. Again, common sense. Look at the loading table of your Cherokee Archer, Table 1, to get an idea of how much weight and lift are involved. Alright, here's Table 1, right there. See that? It's got the... Yeah, I know. Like, again, it's not the easiest to read. Basic aircraft weight is 1,590 pounds. Pilot and passengers 510. Fuel 48 gallons at 6 pounds per gallon, 288. Baggage 162. Total weight 2,550 pounds. A loaded Cherokee Archer, which is not an option to fly in Flight Simulator 2. Thrust is created by your engine and distributed by your propeller. The propeller is an airfoil that creates lift by the same principles previously discussed in the lift section. The major difference between propeller and wing theory is that a propeller rotates to move its airfoil, thus complicating the concept of relative wind. Our discussion of thrust production will be quite simplified and will not include the nuisance turning forces which are byproducts of thrust production. We will also skip discussions of propeller efficiency, the effects of which are quite transparent to the user of Flight Simulator 2 FS2. Adjust my... want to make sure my equipment here is adjusting properly. Okay, so it looks like I've got steady flight here at 3,700. We're still moving. Okay, we need to move a little bit over. Maybe to vector 124. Let's try that a little bit more. There we go. What are you doing, boy? Do I need to bring you on camera? No? He's shy. He does not like cameras. He'll be doing something cute, and you pull out a camera to take a picture out of him, he'll stop. Okay, he's out of the room now. After he knocked a whole bunch of stuff over. He does it on purpose. It's like when he tries to get its attention, it's like, let me just throw some stuff off the off of a counter or something and get your attention. Cats can be demonic. Let's see here. But they're very smart, I'll tell you that. One important facet of thrust production will be quite apparent to you. Thrust is not proportional to RPM, as read on the tachometer. I was going to say tachometer. Again, the dynamic pressure of air is a function of the square of velocity, making a slight increase in RPM more thrust-worthy at higher RPMs. Table 2 is a power table for your aircraft. For your aircraft. I always thought this was a Cessna. Is it not a Cessna? Is it a Cherokee? This whole time, since 1984, I always thought this was a Cessna. Is it actually a Piper Cherokee? Note that the equal incremental power changes at higher power settings and obtained with smaller differences in RPM. You will find that most of your in-flight power settings will be within the 1800 to 2600 RPM range. Table 2 clearly illustrates that this small range encompasses great changes in percentage of power output. While its engine is not perfect, the 64K version, Commodore 64, of FS2 does exhibit this phenomenon. Alright, so here is the table. As you can see, it's got percentage of power, RPM, and change. So percentage of power, 45%, RPM. Yeah, it's just a bunch of numbers that that I'm not even going to pretend to understand. Stability. Stability in terms of aircraft control defines the ability of an aircraft to return to a normal state attitude. They're so close. Unassisted by the pilot after it's displaced from that normal state. If you change aircraft attitude and the aircraft maintains that attitude when you let go of the controls, you've encountered neutral stability. Negative stability is experienced if you change attitude, and the attitude continues to change in the same direction after you've let go of the controls. Check your attitude. Whether you're flying or not, check your attitude. Finally, if the aircraft is in a steady state and your control displacement is followed by the aircraft's return to its original state, you've experienced positive stability. So keep that in mind. If you have a good attitude, you've got positive stability. You'll be stable, you'll be positive, you'll be happy, and so will everyone else. Aircraft pitch and yaw stability are classically explained by comparing the aircraft to an arrow. The tail feathers of an arrow tend to exert increased pressure if the arrow is not aligned with the relative wind. This extra drag on the rear of the arrow causes the arrow to align itself with the wind as pressure is applied behind the center of mass. We're on page 27, And there is 90 some pages of this. But we will get through this whole book for sure. So now I'm curious, what is it that we are actually flying? Is it not a Cessna? I thought this whole time we were flying a Cessna. Well, let's take a look at the Pilot's Operating Handbook and Airplane Flight Manual. This right here. Let's see what it says. Welcome to the CM FS2 Commodore Flight Simulator 2 microcomputer-based flight simulator. The simulator runs on the Commodore 64 computer with a single floppy disk drive. It offers flight simulation that considers 47 important aircraft characteristics and provides an out-of-the-window view using a 3D dynamic shaded color graphics flight display. Sounds, well, you know, back in 1984, this was pretty major stuff. Extensive flight controls accessible using keyboard or joystick, and minimum VFR. I would say minimum VFR, because I don't know about you, but I don't see a whole lot of visual stuff here. And IFR instrumentation, as specified by the FAA, displayed on the screen, are included. I'll be dang. The Commodore Flight Simulator 2 simulates the instruments and flight characteristics of a Piper PA-28-181 Archer II, a single-engine, 148 miles per hour, non-retractable gear aircraft equipped with a good set of avionics. This aircraft was chosen because it offers good performance, yet is simple. It has no retractable gear or constant speed prop, and is easy to fly. Well, I'll be dang. It's a Piper Archer. Did you guys know that? I thought it was a Cessna. This whole time I thought it was a Cessna. And it's actually a Piper Archer. Wow. Well, now I'm curious. Now I gotta look at my manual for like Flight Simulator 1 from Microsoft and see what it says. Which I've got somewhere around here. Ah, here it is. Yeah, Flight Simulator 1. My goodness. Another one that I hadn't played. See, I started with the Commodore 64. So here it is, the original. Well, okay, well, no, SubLogic's the original. But the very first Microsoft Flight Simulator manual. Let's take a look and see what plane. See, Flight Simulator 1 is based off of Flight Simulator 2 by SubLogic. Now I've also been doing a series on Flight Simulator 1 by Microsoft. The graphics are just awful. You think this is bad? Look at the Flight Simulator 1 graphics. The lines are all over the place. It's like the runway lines, and oh, it is a complete mess. Complete, utter mess. Now see here, Microsoft Flight Simulator is modeled after the performance characteristics of an aircraft of the Cessna 182 class single-engine land with substantial performance. It is an ideal plane for pilot training because it has climb performance and speed that keep a pilot busy, especially on landing approach. The plane is slightly superior to an advanced World War I fighter. Huh! So the Microsoft version was a Cessna, and this is a Piper Archer. I wonder if that explains why the dash is not curved here on the end. I always wondered that, because on the Microsoft Flight Simulator, and you can see it a little bit here, you can see how it curves. And I always wondered why does the Microsoft version have a curve there? And this one doesn't. It's just straight across. Maybe that's why. Maybe because Microsoft Flight Simulator was a Cessna and SubLogic was a Piper Archer. I wonder if the Amiga version is like that too. I wonder if it's a Piper Archer. Well, it has retractable landing gear, so... Yeah, but I don't know. I thought maybe Piper Archers have retractable landing gear. I don't know. Could be wrong. Oh, we got 21 more miles left. Not of the flight, but of our first waypoint, Lone Rock. Dane is not too far away, or well, you know, Madison, which is where the Dane County Regional Trout Field is located. So in the mail the other day, I got another scenery disc collection, and this kind of goes back to what I was saying at the very beginning, to where I'm doing separate videos of different areas, because I got all these sceneries and I want to be able to explore them. So I've got this for Flight Simulator 98, Venezia. It works on Flight Simulator 5 also, but this is scenery of Venice and northeast Italy. So this will be cool to check out. I've never had this before for Flight Simulator 98. This is a very hard manual to read, mainly because the lettering is small, but the color, white and this light blue text here, which is kind of blurry, but I don't know, maybe you get the idea. It's not very, there's not a lot of contrast. It would be better if it was black text instead of light blue. Okay, so the text is like the color of this manual. See that? So imagine, do you see how there's not a whole lot of contrast with the white of the text and the blue of the manual? That's what the rest of the manual looks like. It's a little hard on the eyes. Yeah, so this is for Flight Simulator for Windows 95 and Flight Simulator 98 users. The interesting thing about Flight Simulator 98 and Windows 95, they're so close to each other. Well, and the reason for that is Flight Simulator for Windows 95 is Flight Simulator 6.6. And 98 is actually like 6.1. It's just a small little update from the 95 version. So yeah, it actually makes sense that, this would work on both of those. There's some pictures on the back here. Flying low towards Schönbrunn Castle. The amazing Ferris wheel at Prater Park. So here are some pictures here. Try to show that to you. There's the Ferris wheel. That's just like an overview of the map. And then here's the back of the box. few other pictures on here, but so on the back of the box it reads, Venice CN98 for Microsoft Flight Simulator provides you with some of the most stunning scenery you will ever likely to fly, including not only the beautiful city of Venice. I've been to Venice. I've been to the real Venice. It was not as impressive. It was kind of smelly, not exactly clean. It was kind of a letdown for me because I have always been attracted to Venice when I was a kid because of the waterways, and there's no cars, you know, everything was by boat. And then I actually went there and I was disappointed. This includes everything from spectacular flights through the Alps down to the glorious detail of St. Mark's Square. Virtually every civilian airport, highway, byway, lake, river, city, town, and village is included. Wonderful dynamic scenery, lights on the lagoon at dusk, changing seasons, even the Venice Carnival is magically represented with stunning fireworks. That's cool. Built-in adventure provide both guidance and challenges with live ATC and actual flights. Plus, airport and area maps, situations, and flyby video of all the main attractions. Well, that's cool. The adventures, they get to be fun the more that you play around with them because of having the ATC. Because that was the only way to get air traffic control on those old simulators, was with an adventure, programming an adventure. And when I was first playing Flight Simulator 5 in 98, I really didn't mess around with adventures. I used ProFlight 98, which practically made an adventure, but it allowed you made your flight plan from one location to another, and it created an adventure based off of that with air traffic control, which was great. But little did I know that you could sit there and create your own custom adventures, and that's what I've been doing for Flight Simulator 4. So for not the World Tour, because I hadn't done it with the World Tour, but I started doing it with the SubLogic USA Tour. So I've been custom making adventures for that one, which have air traffic control. And I'm using voices that come from Flight Simulator 10 and voice recordings that come from ProFlight Emulator or ProFlight 2000, along with some text-to-speech, and mixing that in there. And also with the... Oh, we're kind of going off course here. Not too much. But also with the adventure, you can program in ATC chatter. So I've really taken Flight Simulator 4 and just done some amazing things with it. Far more than what I think anyone has ever done before. My goodness, how did the compass go in the opposite direction here? Come on. Of course, we are we're only 9 miles away from Lone Rock. I think it's safe to go ahead and tune in Madison and get ready for the rest of our flight. So, and we're gonna tune in. We'll keep Lone Rock tuned in here. We'll do it on nav 2. So let's see, Control N2. that to 112. Change that to 8. And yeah, actually that's perfect. 090. That's what we're going to wind up taking. Now Madison, Control N1, 108.6. There we go. We're 42 miles away from it, and I want to land on runway 18. So we're going to change the VOR to 180. And there we are. So here is the plan. Hey, we got a river! Yay! So Lone Rock is right up ahead. I'll go ahead and pull that up on the map here just so you can see. There we go. So here's the river. So what we're going to be doing, so we're going to be going at a vector of 090. We're going to be heading this direction, and then we're going to catch the 180 radio coming down, so that way we can try to line up the best that we can and land at Dane County. That is my story, and I'm sticking to it. So we just need to wait here until... Actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and change our vector now. Let's move it to 100. So that way we can come at an angle and catch that 90 vector. That way we're not like doing this thing and having to do this crazy turn. Oops. .105, that's not too bad. Okay, so the river that we're seeing off there to the side, it's not going to take us all the way to Madison, the city. But we should be able to see it most of the way, and we will be crossing over that river. Or stream. I don't know how thick that's supposed to be. We're looking out the view there. That's the wing. It was loading in the next set of scenery, I suppose. Alright, 35 miles to go. It looks like VOR 2 is resetting there. So it should turn back on. Oh, we got a road. We got a road off here to the side. I wonder if that will go down to Dane County. Okay, it's changed to from FR. So we just continue. And this is how I learned how the VORs worked. Is where the needle is at. I'm thinking, okay, 90, it's here in the middle, right? And then if it's this direction, then that means we need to be at a vector that's greater than 90, so that way we'll catch this. And so this will start moving to the center the closer we get to 90. And of course, if it's on the other side, then we need to be at a vector that's less than 90. Okay, so there's the river that we talked about that we'll be crossing over. And a white line is a road, so I'm guessing maybe that's a road that actually will go to Dane County. Now's a good time to see what the altitude is at Dane County. Let's see, Madison. Okay, Dane County Regional Trial Field, the altimeter 863. Yeah, it looks like it's got fuel too. That's a good thing. Considering that our fuel is getting low here. Alright, so we need to change the fuel. I believe that's Control F. Yeah. So once again, tab key for control, F, just like the V for VOR, N for nav radio, C for com. And then the greater than, less than signs, because those are like arrows pointing the direction. We want to change the arrow to this. So as you would guess, it's going to be the greater than sign. So Control F. There we go. Our arrow is now pointing over to this thing here. $16.21. It's 4:21. And when I used to fly this, I flew it, it's kind of like I did like a 24-hour flying thing, so that way I would have daytime and nighttime. I'd be flying on both. Oh, it's starting to move. See that? It moved a little bit. Go ahead and turn the aircraft so we can catch the vector. There, we're all set there. We're at a vector of 094, just a little bit to the right, just like we are here. So we should be able to get to 090 with no problem. And we are 28.5 miles away. Oh, these long flights, they, since there's not much to look at, they can definitely be tiring on your eyes. So doing these long flights and doing it across the United States, it's going to be a welcome challenge to go through and do that again. I don't think there's going to be very many people out there that are going to want to do it. As far as what I've been able to see on YouTube, I'm the only crazy person that is actually doing these videos of actual, flying from one location to another. Not just like, well, here's Flight Simulator 2, we'll just kind of fly around this area, I don't think I haven't seen anyone actually showing the scenery discs online, so this tends to be a little bit of a exclusive here on this channel. Another reason why the World Tour is doing kind of like the short hops and not long flights, like sitting there trying to do a flight from like Chicago to Phoenix or something, or Chicago to New York, is that would be an awful long flight looking at these graphics. It's kind of painful. This video itself has already gone over an hour. Can you imagine doing this for like 5-6 hours? Wow. That would be quite a bit. Alright, so what else do I have to share with you here? So I've got a whole bunch of other things that I've been collecting. So I mentioned Canada, that the other simulators are going to be going into Canada. And I got this that can be used on Flight Simulator 6 and 98, or Flight Simulator 95 and 98, which is this right here. Scenery Canada, which I'm thinking is in a replacement jewel case because it's got Sony on the back. So I think this is a replacement one. But yeah, let's see, is there anything? Oh yeah, there is actually something on here. Minimum system requirements. Make sure you have a 486, MS-DOS 5 or later. Oh, now see, this is interesting. The disc says Flight Simulator 5.1. Oh, 5.1 or 6. Okay, so not 98. Flight Simulator 5. But yeah, so I'll be able to use this on Flight Simulator 5, which is good because there's hardly any coverage in Canada. Now this is for Flight Simulator 98. This is Great Britain. And this will be a little bit different from the Europe 1 and Europe 2 that I've got, which came out for Flight Simulator 5. So I'll be using that for those. Okay, this lake, I guess, small lake, bigger river, that right there looking at our map, that's this right here. So we're crossing this river and we're seeing this. So once we fly past this, we should be getting close to the vector here to be able to turn. So the fact that we're up here, this is about right. This is the area that we want to be in. So we got plenty of room, time to come down here and land. And that road is headed south, so I think that road is actually going to Madison. We could probably follow that road. We're getting close. 19 miles. What are some other simulators here? See, I got some other simulators that we'll be doing some videos on as well. Here's one of them. Pro Pilot 99. I have never played this. Never actually played that. I've also got Fly. I got Fly 2K. I don't think I have the first one. I need to get that. I have the original Pro Pilot. Flight Unlimited 3. I don't have 1 and 2 yet. And then I've got SubLogic Flight, which I didn't even know that existed. So, as opposed to Microsoft Flight, which was a failed flight simulator, SubLogic Flight looks like it matches up with Flight Simulator 5 in terms of graphics. But I didn't see anything else from SubLogic after that. I think that was like one of their last things. Wow, the big revelation in this video was the fact that in Flight Simulator 2 SubLogic, it's not a Cessna, it's a Piper. But in Microsoft, it's a Cessna. What an interesting discovery. I think I'm going to be ready to take a nap after this flight. My goodness. Oh my, I'm so speechless. So let me tell you about another series that I'm going to be working on here. I'm going to be doing with Prepared. This is kind of inspired by the Flight Simulator 4 SubLogic USA tour. So I'm going to be doing a tour just like that, and I think it's gonna pretty much follow the same airports, but kind of like in the opposite direction. So the Flight Simulator 4 one starts off in Seattle. The one I'm going to do with Prepared is going to be around the U.S., and it's going to be featuring the Mega Scenery Earth photorealistic scenery. And that one I'm going to start off in Maine and kind of like go down the East Coast and kind of zigzag up and around, and it will end in Seattle. Well, it'll go to Seattle. It's actually going to end in Hawaii because I have scenery for Hawaii from Mega Scenery. So we'll do that. I bought a new plane for that. I got it from Coronado, and then I also bought some one of those navigational equipment things. It was extra, which it shows you the. I should pull it up here instead of talking about it. Let's pull it up. Let's see here, Coronado. I forgot what the name of it was. I'll find out here. The DA-42, and I bought the synthetic vision system to go along with that. So I bought that. To go with it. Let me pull up that actual plane. Okay, not the X-Plane version. Although the X-Plane version might be actually kind of cool to see. So here you go. Here is the actual plane. So I bought this plane specifically for that series, for the Prepared Mega Scenery Earth tour. And it comes, oh, it doesn't come with this. I bought this to go with it. This right here. So you've got this instrument which kind of shows you the terrain and it shows you the runways. It's kind of like flying an old flight simulator within a newer flight simulator. So I've got that series planned. And then the World Tour version for Prepared, I have actually started working on that, and that is going to be a completely, it's going to be its completely own thing. It's not, there's not going to be any face cam. It is going to be pure cinematic, but it will be following the same flight plan that all the other flight simulators have been doing. But it will be doing it in a unique kind of way. I try to make all the simulators, you know, a little unique in their own way. We should be getting close to this radio, this 180 radio. We should be getting close to that. According to this, we're only 11 miles away. I wonder, can we see the airport? There's the city. That's the city of Madison right there. So that road does go to Madison. So the airport is out over here somewhere. There, it's finally moving. It just moved. See that? Yay, it's exciting. We can start to start to turn here. Oh, that's right. Okay, so it's close to the lake. The airport's going to be right around here. It's close to the actual lake. We need to turn back a little bit more here. Oops. That looks like the airport right there in front of us. Yeah, that looks like it. Alright, so let's see. Probably time to slow down. We'll drop one thing of flaps. And we will start our descent. I think the flaps went down. There we go. Went down that time. Remember, the flaps are right here, so it did go down a notch. I think I see the runway. It's right over here. See, I don't think we're lined up. I think it's right there. No? Getting close to lined up here. Now it's swinging the other direction. Stop swinging. And so this is why I was having a hard time with the joystick. Let's bring in another thing of flaps. Let's get slowed down. Yeah, I had to actually use the rudder keys in order to line up, because trying to do it with the ailerons was ridiculous. We got to remember our altitude for the airport is 800, so we're getting close to 2,000. We'll drop our last bit of flaps. Do you think this would be like a soothing ASMR video? Maybe not with me talking, but with the sound of the engine. That can get kind of annoying after a while. Three and a half miles. You know, just something that you would have on the... I mean, I can't imagine doing cinematics with this. But I don't know, maybe it would be relaxing or something for someone. Be able to have this in the background with the nice soothing the Piper Archer. Two and a half miles. The runway should start taking shape here. They're off a little bit to the side. There it is. It's coming into view. It's getting bigger. I want to try to land on the actual runway here. Trying to get this lined up with the runway's always been challenging with Flight Simulator 2. Alright. I think we're ready to cut power here. Yay! We made it! Wow! We made it, we didn't crash, we actually landed. The runway's disappearing. Where is the fuel box? Let's find out here. Well, I'm trying to find out. Gotta find out what key is the map. I thought it was M because I had brought it up before. Radar select. Oh, 4. Okay. Somehow I think we got turned off the runway. Oh, there it is. Alright, let's stop here. Okay, the radar is supposed to be 4. There we go. Kind of in the middle of the runway. This is, if this is supposed to be half fuel, then I don't know where it's at. But let's go ahead and park ourselves right over here in this corner. And we'll do what we didn't have before, and that's bring up the flaps, so that way we'll be ready for the next flight. Because there will be another flight. There's going to be a lot of another flights. There's no taxiways on this, so we will just park ourselves right there and turn off the engine, the mags, which is going to be Control M1, I believe. Maybe not. Control M1. There we go. So mags is 0. And the engine is off. And we are here at Dane County. Woo! Oh. Well, that was fun. All right, so give you a little sneak peek on where we're going to next here. Something to get ready for. We will be flying out of Dane County, and we'll go here into the direction of Dells, so we'll be crossing this again, and I want to be able to fly up into this area so we can see this, and then I figure we can catch this radio here for Oshkosh. So that's basically where we're going, is we're going to Oshkosh, and we're going to land here at Whitman Field, right next to this bigger lake right there. And that's it. That is where we're going on the next flight. So I think that will probably be another long one, about an hour and a half or so. But we'll have plenty of things to talk about. Some more stuff from the Flight Simulator 2 manual, and maybe share with you some more other Flight Simulator stuff that I'm working on. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you on another Flight Simulator video. Take care.